For the Law and You segment, sponsored by Gig and Jancola. Join with us now. We've got attorney Christopher Jancola and Michael Gig. How about that for an estate?
Yeah.
Yeah? Think you could manage?
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. You guys practice a variety of different types of law. Of course, kind of got into that already. Estate planning, wills, trusts, all that. You do kind of a different type of sect over at the office?
Yep. Personal injury, workers' compensation, Social Security, disability. I help injured people.
Yeah, very good. I know I should have it memorized by now.
Right.
Mike, we do have a question for you today. You guys, of course, answer questions right here live on the show twice a week. People, of course, can submit them here. Today, this question comes to us. It says, I have 3 kids. I would like to leave everything to 2 of them. The third has not spoken to me for years. Should I just leave them $1 in my will? Wow.
Yeah. Maybe not shockingly, this is not a rare occasion.
Really?
Yeah, unfortunately. But so some older wills, a lot of attorneys, and some attorneys still do it. They'll, you know, if they're essentially disinheriting a child, they'll say, I leave them $1. And I have people ask when we do that, do we send them $1 at the end of this? And I say no. It's, you know, you're essentially disinheriting that child. What we do anymore is we acknowledge that child and don't provide for them in the will. Now, the first thing to understand is you can disinherit everyone that you're related to other than your spouse. And there's a caveat to that. A spouse, even if you don't provide for them in your will, which I've seen before, the person's married when they pass away, don't put their spouse in there. A spouse has a legal right to take what's called an elective share against your estate, okay? Now, there's certain circumstances with that. You can waive that. Sometimes when it's maybe a second marriage or something, each spouse will sign what's called a spousal waiver. So you waive your elective share because, you know, each person maybe has, you know, their own kids, they want to provide for them.
Yeah.
And so you can waive that. But if a spouse does not waive that, and there's not like a divorce pending at the time the person passed away, there's certain circumstances like that that we don't need to get into, but you can't disinherit your spouse. But anyone else, you can. And what I tell people is, if you have a situation like this where there's a child that, for whatever reason, you don't want to provide for in your will, I always say, I give them the option, of course, but I say you probably should acknowledge them. And that's for the purpose of maybe some type of will contest later on.
Oh, they can contest the will?
Well, they could. That's very difficult. Will contests are very difficult. You'd have to prove maybe that, you know, the biggest one is competency. Maybe they're going to allege that the person wasn't competent when they signed their will. They were under some type of duress or something. It's very, very difficult to contest a will. But I just say to put it in there just so there's no, you know, but some people don't want to put that in there because they don't want it to be out there, to tell them that they weren't providing for them. I usually say to do it, but you can absolutely do that. We don't put in the $1 thing, but that's essentially disinheriting a child.
I thought that was just sort of that pettiness, let's stick it to him one last time.
No, it's you know, my father had that in a lot of his wills, and some older attorneys had that. Some people still do it, but it's essentially disinheriting a child. And some people ask, because they're in the will, do we have to send the will out to them after you pass? Because by law, you have to notify all the beneficiaries that are in the will and send the will to them. You do not, because you're not providing for them. I mean, that would be...
Well, yeah, getting a check for $1.
Right, exactly.
That's the way it was playing in my mind, but you said it doesn't really work like that.
Yeah, so yeah, you can do that. I suggest people do it, just so there's no issues, but like I said, will contests are very... People worry about that, but they're very difficult.
Yeah, interesting stuff. I mean, my head's just going to so many other places. I could just talk your ear off all day. But if people do have questions, they can, of course, write in to here on the show, or they can give you guys a call.
Absolutely. Give us a call at 814-946-1606 or go to gig-law.com.
All right. Thanks for breaking it down for us, Mike. Coming up, navigate.